So we are going to request that today we cover as much work as possible. Now, without wasting any time, we are going to invite the Provincial Secretary to come to the front and present the report where we ended yesterday, so that we can have enough to take to our commissions. As comrades would understand that this report is going to assist us as and when we go to the commissions. Yes. We want to invite you.
Amandla, Viva SADTU, Viva. Thank you, Chairperson. Comrades, we continue where we left yesterday. In your document, we were on page 78 when we were dealing with site structures, indicating that they are the backbone of the union, they are the first line of defense for members, and the important responsibility that they have as site structures. Because of the proximity that they are having, even with the principles that in many cases, the cases that we are dealing with at the level of the region and the provinces are cases that if principals would have handled them in the correct line, they would not even be escalated to a higher structure. But we want to indicate, comrades, in the report that we went to site biennial general meetings, and ordinarily, or as a norm, after the elections of the sites, for them to be able to do what they are expected to do, they must be capacitated. It's unfortunate that we are here today and the sites have not been capacitated. I think it should be the first task after this provincial conference to see that the sites are capacitated with all the necessary skills, knowledge that they must employ at the site level to make sure that we retain those members at our sites. We're referring to the district sites and the head office sites because there's a national resolution, comrades, that because of issues of districts and issues of sites, of head office site, the regions will service the district officers, and the province, the provincial office, will service head office site. But that does not mean that regions are now owning the district sites. It does not mean that head office falls under the provincial office. They are sites, they still under branches where they are located. But in terms of other issues, they must be serviced by the region and the province, but they still have to attend the mass meetings of sites, of branches where they are. There's no way that the district officers or the head office can expect that the PwC must call a special meeting for them. In terms of constitutional meetings, comrades, those sites must attend the meetings where they are in their branches. We indicating, Chairperson, that we are having 22 branches across the province, some of them with extreme vastness, mostly in Namakwa, Pixley, and partly in JTG. But we must also report to conference that we did not do well in terms of the National Congress resolution of launching TVET as branches. It's another matter, Chairperson, that I think the Northern Cape need to improve, because those sectors need SADTU more than anyone else. We are reporting again, Chairperson, that during our term, there was a name change in John Taule Khaitsi. We comrades would have heard when we were presenting the credentials. We no more spoke of Northern Branch in JTG, but Ronald Mutlanke Branch. And that decision that came from the branch to the region and then to the province was ratified by NEC in 2023. But then the branch, in terms of launching the new name, they did that in 2025. And we want to applaud the Ronald Mutlanke branch for that sterling launch that they had. Also, on demarcation, let's indicate that in JTG, before the branch, the BTGMs and RTGMs, 2 branches, in fact, it was a Mutibistad branch that wanted to demarcate, and later on Mushawing. But we had to make sure, as the Provincial Executive Committee, that all necessary processes are followed to the latter, so that later on, we are not faced with, for instance, a name where we did not consult with the family and so, but also that the demarcation is correctly done. But the comrades or the leadership in the branches did not do all that they were supposed to do on time until it was time or the elective conference were nearing. And there's an NEC decision, comrades, that when we go to elective conferences, we don't demarcate, because sometimes it might be for some other reasons when you demarcate. So we then had to stop the process because it was just on the eve of the BTGMs, and we advised the comrades that they will continue with the process of demarcation after the provincial conference. In terms of the regions, we had our RTGMs also in 5 regions, and we are presenting to the provincial conference the leadership that was elected in page 84 and 85 of the document. Again, comrades, like we indicated, sites were not inducted at all. But when it comes to regions, although it was delayed, because we would have wanted that immediately after the leadership is elected into office, they are inducted or workshopped so that they know what are the responsibilities. Because in many cases, you get structures not being functional, and when you check what is the problem, comrades will say they don't know what to do. So those inductions, comrades, are very important. But we managed recently to have induction in 3 regions, which is Francis Bard, ZFM, and JTG. And this is the reason also that delayed the induction of sites, because regions cannot induct sites when themselves are not inducted. We are reporting, Chairperson, also on the province that in 2022, we went to the 2nd Quadrennial Provincial Conference in Distill, Harip, in Colesberg, and we indeed had a successful conference And we are presenting the leadership that emerged at that conference. But we must also indicate that immediately after the provincial conference, the provincial education convener was appointed as the acting district director, and given that he had to vacate the position. So there were by-elections afterwards, and the leaders that were elected is in the structures that we are indicating. But later on again, because when you check the leadership that emerged in Colesberg and the leadership that is before you, there are many changes that have happened during the time of our office. The provincial chairperson also resigned because he also accepted a post in the Department of Education, and we then had to go for by-elections where the provincial chairperson, Comrade Sibolai, was then elected as the provincial chair, and then there was movement in the PWC because the Sports, Arts and Culture convener was then elected as the education convener, and then we had a newly elected PSEC from JTG, Comrade Sithole. So this leadership that is before you is the one that we had after all those resignations and appointments by some of the leaders. We standing here and reporting, comrades, like we said, this conference, part of it is for us to come and account on the mandate that you mandated us with when we were at the second Quadrennial Provincial Conference. And we can report that we have fulfilled our constitutional obligation and having meetings to report to executive committee and to get mandate that we implemented. Because the function of the PWC, part of it is to implement PEC decisions. We have continually engaged with the employer on sectoral issues and all issues that are challenging in schools to try and make schools environments that are conducive for learning. And I think when we were dealing with labor, we were able to indicate, comrades, the meetings that we had, issues that were a challenge, and the ones that we were able to resolve. So the report indeed indicates that we did represent members. We're reporting on the Provincial General Council that we had in 2024 in the same venue where we are. And we want just to indicate on the Provincial General Council because yesterday conference adopted resolutions of the Provincial General Council. But what we want to indicate, comrades, is that in the same PGC, the province pronounced on retention of all leaders at national office. In the same council that we had in 2024, the province pronounced on retention when the provincial chairperson was closing that we are supporting retention of all national leaders as we were about to go to the National General Council. And then we went to National General Council that was held in September 2024 at Nazareth, and the conference or congress was convened under the theme claiming our right to have our human dignity and safety protected and respected in pursuit of a decolonized education. The National Congress delegates, as prescribed in the Constitution, received an accountability report from the NWC and the NEC for the period of 5 years that they've been in office. And it's Congress like the one that we had, comrades, in 2024 that proves that SADTU is alive and SADTU is not a stagnant organization. And we want to thank the NEC for stepping above challenges and provided leadership. We are presenting leaders that were elected at the National Congress, the President, Comrade Mohope Mapila, the Deputy President, Comrade Mabuto Tele, the General Secretary, Comrade Mugwena Maluleke, the Deputy General Secretary, Comrade Nkosana Dolopi, the National Treasurer, Comrade Lindiwe Muchwana, the Vice President for Education, Comrade Fasiha Solomon, and the Vice President for Gender, Comrade Dudunkosi, also the Vice President for Sports, Arts and Culture, Comrade Nolita Mboniso. But we must also indicate, comrades, that after the conference, National Congress, in 2025, the Vice President of Gender resigned, and we had by-elections at NEC, and Comrade Ndaba, Tando Ndaba Matika was there. Makita, my apologies. It's because in the province we have in Matika. Apologies, comrades. Comrade Tando Ndaba Makita was then elected as the Vice President for Gender. But we also want to indicate, comrades, and these are some of the things that we need to correct in future, that towards the build-up or process of National Congress, there was a crack in the Northern Cape province. And I deliberately mentioned it because we are all aware of the decision or the pronouncement that we made of retention of leadership. At the Congress, there were comrades that were very opportunistic to say that we are here to defend one of our own, or we are here to defend the leadership. If my memory serves me well, all the delegates, after the decision or the pronouncement was made in the PGC, we had a delegates conference, and in the delegates meeting, we also emphasized, comrades, that we don't have any other leadership other than the leadership that is serving in the NWC. And that's the mandate that we left with in the Northern Cape to national. But disturbingly, comrades were posting that some leaders in the NWC, the same mandate, that there's going to be retention